You are now tuned into Digital Dive with Homes for Heroes.
Launching paid media. Activating Facebook advertising. Engaging campaign optimization.
Hello everyone, I am Seth Jessica, the Emerging Media Manager at Homes for Heroes. Welcome to another episode of Digital Dive with Homes for Heroes, where we provide digital marketing tutorials to help you grow your real estate or mortgage lending business. If this is your first time tuning into Digital Dive with Homes for Heroes, I have been putting together a series of videos right here on Digital Dive that is dedicated to helping you get the most out of your Facebook advertising dollars by helping you set up your Facebook ad campaigns. If you want to check out the very first video in this series of Facebook advertising tutorials, I'll put a link to that video right here. But if you would rather just stay here, check out this video, that's cool too, because we are going to go over how to optimize your Facebook ad campaigns to maximize the return on your Facebook advertising dollars. Now, throughout this series of videos dedicated to Facebook advertising, I have tried to emphasize the importance of utilizing Facebook's campaign budget optimization tool. Facebook's campaign budget optimization tool is literally the most powerful tool that you can utilize to increase the performance of your Facebook ad campaigns to help you get the most out of your Facebook advertising dollars. And that's because the Facebook campaign budget optimization tool has the ability to increase the performance of your Facebook ad campaigns based on the learnings from your ad campaign's performance. In other words, Facebook has the ability to evaluate your ad campaign based on the ad placements where your ad is performing best, the dates and times that your ad is performing at best, the people who are finding the most value in your ad, as well as several other attributes that make up your ad campaign. Facebook takes in this information, processes it, analyzes it, and then increases the performance of your Facebook ad campaign based on its learning. And that's why the Facebook campaign budget optimization tool is literally the most powerful tool that you can utilize to increase the performance of your Facebook ad campaigns. But us as advertisers, we have the ability to amplify this optimization with our Facebook ad campaigns by testing different attributes that go into our Facebook ad campaign and impact its performance. For example, what if your ad campaign was able to drive better results if you used alternative messaging, or a different video, or a different image, or even a different call to action? We would never know unless we A/B tested multiple versions of a specific attribute up against one another. And that's how us as advertisers have the ability to optimize our Facebook ad campaigns. And that's exactly what we're going to go over on today's episode of Digital Dive with Homes for Heroes. Now, there are a couple ways that you can A/B test ad attributes to increase the performance of your ad campaigns. You can do it manually, or you can use Facebook's A/B testing tool. Now, if you ask me which method I would recommend that you use, I think it's going to really depend on how you manage your Facebook ad campaigns personally. If you use a more hands-on approach where you set up your Facebook ad campaigns and then you check back and check in on them on a daily basis, I would recommend that you use the manual method. If you are more hands-off where you set up your Facebook ad campaigns and check back on them sporadically, then I would recommend that you use Facebook's A/B testing tool. Now, I'm going to go over both methods in today's episode of Digital Dive with Homes for Heroes. But first, let's identify the 6 steps that go into A/B testing ad attributes to increase the performance of our Facebook ad campaigns. Number 1, we want to identify what we're trying to solve for. Number 2, we want to set a baseline for our measurement. Number 3, we want to isolate the attribute that we're testing. Number 4, test. Number 5, measure. And number 6, we want to evaluate and repeat. So we can do all 6 of these steps within Facebook Ads Manager. So now let's go into Facebook Ads Manager, start setting up your A/B testing to optimize your Facebook ad campaigns using these 6 steps. Step 1, identifying what you're trying to solve for is relatively easy. All you need to do is look at what you're trying to achieve with the Facebook ad campaigns you're looking to place. For example, if you're looking to drive video views with your Facebook ad campaign, you would want to try to solve for more video views at a lower cost per video view. If you are looking to drive traffic to a landing page on your website with your Facebook ad campaign, you would want to try to solve for more landing page views at a lower cost per landing page view. If you are trying to drive leads with your Facebook ad campaign, you would want to try to solve for more leads at a lower cost per lead. And finally, if you are looking to drive conversions with your Facebook ad campaign, you would want to try to solve for more conversions at a lower cost per conversion. So I only reference these marketing objectives because these are the marketing objectives that we have been referencing throughout this series of Facebook advertising tutorial videos. But essentially what you're trying to solve for in step 1 is the marketing objective that you're trying to achieve in your current Facebook ad campaigns by getting that marketing objective at a lower cost per result. Step 2, set a baseline for our measurement. To set a baseline for our measurement, we simply need to reference our previous Facebook ad campaigns that have the same marketing objective as the campaigns we're looking to place in our current ad campaign. So to do that, we would just go to our Facebook Ads Manager dashboard, and we would want to change the default setting on the date to lifetime. And now we can go over to this filter here and select underneath the objective dropdown the marketing objective that we're trying to solve for. So if you're trying to solve for video views, select video views. If you're trying to solve for traffic, select traffic. If you're just trying to solve for conversions, select conversions. I'm going to use lead generation as the marketing objective that I'm trying to solve for. I'm going to try to solve for getting more leads at a lower cost per lead. So once you have selected your objective, the next thing that you're going to want to do is filter your cost per result from lowest to highest. Make sure that these numbers are going down from low to high. And what we can determine from this list is that this campaign at the top was a pretty successful ad campaign because this helped us achieve our marketing objective at a pretty low cost per result. Now, I'm not going to use this number as our baseline measurement because there's too many factors that go into impacting this number. And some of those factors are external. For example, strong economy or great seasonality, or if there's low ad inventory, that will allow us to get these results at a lower cost. Now, if the economy goes bad, or if the seasonality is not ripe, or if there is limited ad inventory, that will cause these costs to go up. But we still can determine that this was a pretty successful Facebook ad campaign. So what we're going to use as our baseline measurement are all the attributes that made up this Facebook ad campaign. And that includes the audience, the messaging, the creative, the call to action. We can determine that those attributes created a successful Facebook ad campaign. And so that is what we're going to use for our baseline measurement. So step 3 and step 4. Step 3, isolate the attribute or the variable that you want to test. And step 4, test. So I combine these steps because essentially you do them at the same time. Step 3, you isolate the attribute and variable that you want to test when you set up your A/B test when placing your Facebook ad campaign. And step 4 is testing. Testing is essentially when you run your Facebook ad campaign. So I really combine these steps together. Now, as I mentioned, there are 2 methods that you can use to A/B test different variables or attributes in your Facebook ad campaigns. And one of them is to do it manually, and the other one is to use a Facebook A/B testing tool. Now, again, I don't have a method that I would recommend one over the other. It just really depends on how much you like to manage your Facebook ad campaigns and how often you can check back to determine which ad campaign is driving the best results when you A/B test. But we'll go over how to use both, and I will start with using the Facebook A/B testing tool. So the way that we would want to get started is go back to our Facebook Ads Manager and find the Facebook ad campaign that we have determined as successful. And we want to replicate the attributes that made up that successful Facebook ad campaign. Now, if I go over here, a real easy way to do it would be to just duplicate it. But if you duplicate it, you're really going to be limited to the amount of variables that you can test. So I really recommend that you don't select the duplicate option. Instead, what I would recommend that you do is open your Facebook Ads Manager in 2 tabs on your computer. So in the first tab, we are going to click on Edit on the successful Facebook ad campaign that we want to replicate. And in the second tab, I am going to create a new Facebook ad campaign. And essentially what I'm going to do when I set up this new Facebook ad campaign, I'm going to reference all the attributes that made up this Facebook ad campaign and just replicate those attributes when I set this up. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire process of setting up this Facebook ad campaign. I've already done that to save us time. And essentially, setting up a Facebook ad campaign for your A/B test is really similar outside of a few exceptions. And we'll just identify those few exceptions. So when you're setting up your new Facebook ad campaign, obviously, as I said, you're going to reference everything here and set it up the same. But when you get to this bottom of the campaign section, you'll see this option for create A/B test. And you'll want to make sure that you toggle that on. And when you do toggle that on, Facebook is going to give you a drop down to select the variable that you want to A/B test. And I'm not going to go through each one of these variables because A/B testing the variables are going to be very similar. It's just going to, you're just going to set up that variable whenever placing that portion of the ad. But for this example, I'm going to A/B test creative. I think most of us are interested in A/B testing creative to see which one is going to drive better results. So we'll use creative for this example. So once we have selected our A/B test and toggled that on and selected the variable, we can click on continue. And now if you see that on the section of the ad set, it is giving you the variable that you're testing. And if you go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see A/B test budget and schedule. So this is going to, your A/B test budget is going to essentially be the same as your campaign budget. You want to set it to a lifetime budget and allocate the dollars that you want to allocate to this campaign. Now the duration. You can change the duration of the A/B schedule to 1 day, 9 days, and anywhere in between. I recommend using 7 days. The reason being is that gives you typically a large enough sample size to get true results. Now, if you set it to 9 days, you might end up spending money on a variable that's not driving great results, and you just continue to throw money at something that's not working. But if you find something kind of in the middle, I find that to be the sweet spot where you get enough of a sample size to determine a true winner, but you're not throwing too much money away at a variable that isn't driving results. So once you have set that up, you will see this estimated test power. Now, I don't put too much weight and concern in this estimated test power. If it is at least 60%, I'm okay with that. The only real way to increase the estimated test power is to throw more money at your A/B test, which obviously is going to benefit Facebook. So I am just going to leave this at whatever I want to spend on this Facebook ad campaign, whether this says 60%, 70%, 80%, or 90%. Don't put too much stock and weight into this. So once we've set that up, we can click on continue. And this is where we will set up our A/B test and determine which variable or which attribute we want to test for our creative. Now, you can test anything from the primary text to the headline to the description. You can even test the display link if you like, the call to action, or even the lead form. So the way that you would want to do this is obviously leave everything the same as you did in your successful Facebook ad campaign. And then you have this option over on the left-hand side, ad set, and it's add A and add B. This is where you would want to change a variable or an attribute to A/B test it. Now, as you can see, you get this note up here that says the ad you selected to test has been autofilled with the same details as the previous ad. In order to run an A/B test, you'll need to change one or more of these details. So essentially what Facebook is telling you is everything that you set up in ad A is also going to be replicated in ad B. Everything is exactly the same. And now we need to change one or more things to actually run a valid A/B test. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. I strongly recommend that you only test one variable or attribute at a time. If you test more, you don't really know what is driving the change in the results. For example, if you change the primary text and the video in ad B, you don't know which one is driving the change in your ad campaigns. So I strongly recommend that you only test one variable at a time. So if I wanted to change the primary text, I want to change this primary text into text that really represented the success and the power behind the Homes for Heroes program, and I want to highlight the number of heroes that we have served and the savings that we gave back. I could change that primary text and see if that would increase the performance of my ad campaign. If I wanted to change the video, I could X out this video, upload a new video, and then run this video against the video in ad A to see which one performed better. And similarly, maybe learn more is going to perform better than sign up as a call to action. These are the variables that you can test up against one another to see which one is going to perform better. Now, you have the option to test another ad, so you can add in a third option to this. So again, if you're going to change the video in ad B and you're going to test another ad, add a third video and only test the videos. If you test another ad and you are changing the video in ad B and you're keeping the same video but you're changing the primary text in ad C, you don't know which variable is truly driving the change in the results of your ad campaign. So once you have finished setting up your A/B test and changing a variable in ad B, all you need to do is click on confirm, and that will actually put your ad campaign into play, and you'll actually be doing step 4, which is testing your variable or the attribute in your A/B test. Now, if I wanted to set up my A/B test manually when I place my Facebook ad campaign, I could do that as well. And I personally prefer to run my A/B test manually because I have more control over when I end the A/B test. If I determine that I've had a large enough sample size and one variable is driving better results than the other one, I can go in there and manually turn off the variable that's underperforming. So that is why I personally prefer to run A/B tests manually. But again, it is entirely up to you which method that you prefer to use. So to set up your A/B test manually, you would go through the initial setup process like we did with the Facebook A/B testing tool. We would go and find the ad campaign that we determined as successful, and we would open up that ad campaign by clicking on Edit. And then we would open up the Facebook Ads Manager in another tab, and essentially we would set up this Facebook ad campaign with the same ad attributes that the successful ad campaign did. So we would go through the same process as we did with the Facebook A/B testing tool. The only difference is that we would toggle the A/B testing option off. So we would set up this Facebook ad campaign exactly the same, and instead of clicking publish, we would just close this tab to save it. And now we would find that Facebook ad campaign in our Facebook Ads Manager, and then make sure that the box next to the left of that ad campaign name is checked, and then we would open up the ad sets at the top of the page. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this because I want to identify which ad set is the successful ad campaign. And I'm also going to want to do with the ad as well. So I'll just click Save to Draft. And now I will go to the ads and I will add the same name to the end of that. And the whole reason why I'm putting the champion after the ad as well as the ad set is because I'm going to create another ad set, and this ad set that I create is going to be the contender, and this is going to be the one that has already delivered the best results. So I can distinguish the two ad sets from each other. So the next step that I'm going to want to do is duplicate this. So I'll just click on duplicate. And then I'm going to want to select existing campaign. And then I'm going to want to uncheck the show existing reactions, comments, and shares. And click duplicate. Now this is going to open up, and what I'm just going to want to do is change the name on this to contender. You can certainly go through different naming conventions if you prefer. I'm just doing this to help you identify what I'm doing with these ad sets and ads to set up my A/B test. So now I can close this out, and now this campaign that I set up has two ad sets. One is a champion, which has been the successful ad campaign, and this one is the contender, which I'm going to change a variable on and run up against the winning ad campaign. Now, I also have two different ad sets. One is a contender and one is a champion, similar with the ad set. The ad is, this is a successful one, and this is the one that is going to go up against the champion. Now, the next thing I'm going to want to do is identify the variable that I want to test. Just like with the Facebook A/B testing tool, I only want to change one variable. So if I want to A/B test the audience, what I would do is I would edit the contender ad set. So I would open that up, and then I would change the audience. So if I want to run up a different audience up against the winning ad audience, I would just change the audience. I could also change the placement. So if I wanted to see if only running my ads on Instagram performed better than using automatic placements, I could do that. Now, if I wanted to test the creative, I would want to make sure that I don't change anything in the ad set. The only thing that I would want to change is something to the creative, a variable in the creative, in the contender ad. So I would just open up the contender ad under ads, and then I would determine what variable do I want to change. Do I want to try a different video? I could click on change video, upload another video, and see if a different video performed better than this one. I could also change the primary text. I could change the headline, change the description, display link, call to action, or lead form. So essentially what you're doing is you're just creating another ad set or another ad to run up against the one that was determined as successful. And what's going to happen is your ad set and your ads are going to run out of the campaign budget. So whatever your campaign budget is here is going to be split into two between these ad sets. So if your budget at the campaign level is $700, and you would split that $700 between this ad set and this ad set, and that would run for the length that you determine. So if you set that up to run June 1st through June 15th, that $700 would be split between these two ad sets and these two ads for those 15 days. And that's exactly how you set up your A/B test manually. Step number 5, measure. So measuring our A/B test is relatively easy. It's another easy step for us to do because we don't have to try to gather, synthesize, and process a bunch of data. Facebook does all of that for us. It makes it really easy for us. So there are two different ways that you're going to want to measure the performance of your A/B test, and that just depends on the method that you used. So if you use the Facebook A/B testing tool, how you would want to measure the results of your A/B test is just go to your Facebook Ads Manager and click on this little sandwich bar in the upper left-hand corner and then select Experiments. Now this is going to take you to a page that shows all the A/B tests that you have ran, and then it's going to give you this nice little graph here, and it's going to show the results of each campaign next to each other, and it's even going to give you this little icon that helps you identify the winning ad. Now if you click on View Report, you're going to get a much more detailed and in-depth insight into that A/B test. So you can look through here and get some more insights. Now, if you A/B tested your ad campaign manually, what you would want to do is go to your Facebook Ads Manager and find the ad campaign where you ran the A/B test, and then you would click into that and go to your ad sets and reference the cost per result. Now, whichever one is producing the lower cost per result, it's pretty safe to say that that is your winning ad set or your winning ad, just depending on what type of variable you tested. Now, the reason why I like using manual A/B testing is because I can go in here and measure my A/B test throughout the lifetime of the campaign. So within 5 days, if I'm running the A/B test and I notice that one of the ad sets or one of the ads is driving an extremely high cost per result, and there's a huge discrepancy between these two, I can turn off the ad set or the ad that is underperforming, reallocate those dollars to the ad or the ad set that is performing best, and that way I can make sure that I'm putting my money to best use. Now, the other thing that I will note is that as you come in here and measure your cost per result, if the cost per result between the two ad sets or the ads are within the same ballpark, say within 50 cents of each other, you might just want to check on the ratio of results to impression. If one is driving a better ratio, that might be a better way to determine the winner if this cost per result is relatively close. So that's how you measure your A/B tests. Step number 6 is to evaluate your A/B test strategy and then retest. So typically what I do during this step is I take a look at the A/B test that I just ran. I take a look at the lessons that I learned from that A/B test, and then I take a look at what is the next lowest hanging fruit to help me optimize and increase the performance of my Facebook ad campaigns, and then I retest that variable. Now, for example, let's just say that you A/B tested 2 videos. You want to see which video would outperform each other. And you ran that A/B test, and there was no significant learning from that A/B test because both videos performed comparable, right? They drove results at a comparable cost per result. Then what you might want to consider is adding more videos into the A/B test to see if some additional videos would outperform the 2 videos that you already A/B tested. Now, in another example, maybe you already A/B tested several videos up against each other, and you did discover that one of these videos outperforms the rest. It was outperforming by driving more results at a lower cost per result. Then what you might want to consider is what is the next variable that you want to test? What is the next lowest hanging fruit that's going to help me optimize and increase the performance of my ad campaigns? Maybe that is A/B testing messaging. Maybe it is A/B testing your call to action. There are several ways that you can continue to A/B test your ad campaigns to increase and optimize their performance. And you could literally A/B test with every Facebook ad campaign that you place. Now, that just might not be possible because we all have limited access to resources in terms of time and money. But you would want to continue to A/B test until you have found success with your Facebook ad campaigns. Now, once you do find that success, I would recommend that you don't get complacent with that success. I would definitely ride out that success, but consumer sentiment does change. Their taste, their behavior will change over time. So once you have found that success, the consumer sentiment towards that ad may change within 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. So continue to ride out this success, but continue to A/B test that success into the future as consumer sentiment towards that ad may change. So I hope this video has given you a foundation for building out your A/B testing strategy. I really do think that A/B testing is important and critical to helping you optimize and increase the performance of your Facebook ad campaigns, and most importantly, getting the most out of your Facebook advertising dollars. If you guys have any questions, concerns about this video or any of the videos that I've published to Digital Dive with Homes for Heroes, I always recommend that you reach out to me. Tag me in a post, direct message me. I'm more than happy to help with whatever concerns that you have and answer any questions that you may have. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Digital Dive with Homes for Heroes. If you found this video helpful, make sure that you give it a like and make sure that you subscribe to the Homes for Heroes YouTube channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you'll get notified anytime we publish a new episode right here on the Homes for Heroes YouTube channel. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys again real soon.